So what I want to do is make sure I select my colors and put them in the swatches panel and then use them in gradient. So let me go ahead and select my browns using the eyedropper tool. Again, I need this light brown. Once I have it selected, you will see it in the toolbox. So I'm going to drag it and place it in my swatches panel. I also need the dark brown, which is this color, and I have my two browns. So now I will go ahead and select the iris and go under gradient and just select radial. Now what will happen is the black and white gradient will replace what I had. So what I need to do is just go back to my swatches panel and drag it out in order for me to see it even when I open my gradient panel, because I need both panels now. So what I need to do is just drag this brown and drop it to replace the black, just like this. And drag this lighter brown and drop it to replace the white. I can see that it's nice. It has, you know, this effect of transparency and gradients, but it's probably a bit, the lighter brown is a bit too dark. For me to correct it, I just need to make sure it's selected. If it has this small triangle black, it means it's selected. And then with it selected, I will open my color panel and just try to make it a brighter brown by dragging down the black, for example. You start seeing the light around the pupil, and perhaps less cyan, perhaps some more yellow. Okay, now we start seeing a lot of light. It becomes interesting. Okay, very nice. So now let's go ahead and give these changes names. Actually, no need, because they're all the work of the iris. So this is where we were doing the work. Now let me hide the iris to see if there are white, you know, light dots. I see one right here. So I need a white circle and a couple of smaller circles over the pupil. So let me go ahead and draw those. Again, I'll take the ellipse tool, no color for the stroke, and white for the fill. And I will go ahead and zoom in and just draw a nice circle right here, and perhaps a couple more like this, and position them properly. Okay, and then I can again go ahead and unhide the pupil and the iris, and then zoom out to see the result. Okay, I have a nice thing happening. Perhaps these white dots are too white. So let me select them and go to my color panel and maybe add some magenta and some yellow, just to make them a bit. Okay, this is much better. Okay, the next thing I want to do is draw this small line right here and then the lashes. So let me go ahead and do that. I'm going to take my pen tool and use black and just draw a nice small stroke. That's it. And obviously it will appear in fill, but all you have to do is just swap it and then choose a very small stroke. I think this is a thick stroke, so I'll fix it under the stroke panel. Perhaps 0.005 inches should do. Okay, that's a nice thin stroke. And then we will go ahead and draw these lashes. So I will take the paintbrush tool, and under the options right here at the top panels, I'm going to choose this 5-point flat brush. Okay, so let me go ahead and do that, and then just click and drag to draw these lashes in this direction. So click and drag. Okay, that's a bit too far. Okay, click and drag, perhaps a couple more right here. Okay, so obviously these are a bit thick. Let me select them and change the thickness to perhaps 0.05 inches again, and that's much better, and I will keep those. Perhaps these need to tilt a bit. If so, I just select them and then hit rotate, click once right here, and then drag them to the left so that they're rotated. Now another thing I can do is, if I zoom in, I see that the lash endings have a thickness, while in reality they should be thin at the edge. So what can I do to change this? This is where the outline path becomes very useful. What I need to do is just select both lashes and go to Object, Expand Appearance, and they will actually get out of their outline mode and become fills. So if I zoom in and go to Preview, I can take this little vector point and dragging it closer to the one at the top so that it looks thin at the top edge. Okay, so now I have nice lashes as well. So this is how I would go on working with each of my elements. Let me unhide what I've been hiding. The face is what I needed. Okay, so this is quite nice. I mean, I have to continue obviously the base of the eye by just, using the pen tool again and drawing with a thin line. One other thing I'd like to do is just make the edges of this eyebrow feathery, because they look like very clean edges, but eyebrows are not exactly like that. So let's go ahead and select that, go to Effect, and under Stylize, there's this effect called Feather. So I want to select that. And what this will do, it's basically, as the word says, feather, it's going to make the edges of whatever element you have blurry. So let me see what this default value will give me if I hit preview. It's giving me this effect, which is quite nice. So I have dark in the center and feathers on the edges. So I'm going to hit OK, and this eyebrow looks more natural than what I had earlier. Okay, so you have to continue working at this. Obviously, your assignment is not working on Jennifer Lopez's face, but making your own self-portrait. So make sure you have a nice photograph of yourself, a high-resolution image you can work with. And let me remind you that when you go and work with details like how to trace the nose and so forth, just make sure that you use the right pen tool, the size of the stroke, having a thick, dark, perhaps a black line here is not the right decision. Maybe you need some light grayish, brownish color, and so forth. You have to use your judgment and work with this in order to achieve like a natural result. Now, with regards to the hair is very difficult to make. You can actually go ahead and use one of the brushes and work with that, using brush strokes. You can do that for your own hair, or you can just draw a nice trace and then fill it with a block of opaque color. You can also do that, but I will actually precisely mention this in the assignment, but you are allowed to, in this assignment, work on the hair just by image tracing it, only the hair, not the face. So let me show you what I mean. I already created a new file and pasted that same image here, and what I want to do is just select the image, and under image trace, go to low fidelity photo. Obviously this is a high resolution image. If your image is not a high resolution image, none of these is going to work fine. So this is a high resolution image, so a low fidelity photo for image trace will work very well. So let me click on that, and we'll wait for a minute and you'll see what happens. Okay, so I have this nice effect. Now, if I zoom in, it's basically the image trace of the original image with that nice low resolution effect. For your assignment, don't take your image and just image trace it and submit it that way, because it's clear. If I go to preview, let me go ahead and expand. If I go to preview, I'm obviously going to see that you didn't do the work but just image traced. You have to do whatever we covered step by step, showing me the layers and the individual work on individual elements of the face. But only for the hair, it's okay to just image trace the whole image and then take the hair and paste it on top, because it's very hard to do. So let me go ahead and obviously I expanded the image, and now if I go to outline mode, I see all of these traces. So let me take the direct selection tool and start deleting what I don't need. So click outside and drag all the way until the beginning of the hair. Make sure not to touch the hair, and then hit delete twice so that all of these selected vector points are deleted. Same thing here, just make sure not to touch the hair because you need the hair. Obviously this has to work with your image, and we're pretending this is just your image. Okay, I'm deleting twice. Here I need to click outside and delete the whole face. And I have some work here to do as well. I'm using the direct selection tool again. I don't need these little strokes and these background effects. Delete all. I'm going to keep the ear with the earring just for this exercise. Okay, so what I have is nice. I'll also remove this, and I'm going to copy this whole thing, select all, copy, and go back to this existing file. And what I need to do is just create a new layer, which I have already created, layer 5, just by clicking on this create new layer icon. Make sure you're on that layer and then hit Command V to paste it, and go ahead and position it properly. Just make sure this new layer that you created is at the very top. Okay, so let's position that. I see the base of the earring, it should meet. Okay, so this is it, and I will click outside and call this hair. Okay, so only for the hair now, the combination is very nice. The hair has a nice graphic, low fidelity resolution image trace. So is the ear. Now I see that this patch doesn't work, so I might as well also remove them. Okay, now this works very fine with what I have, with my color of skin. So you have to continue working, obviously adding the lashes, working on the second eye, tracing the nose, the lips, and so forth, and then the neck, and that's enough. If you're wearing, shirts, t-shirts, that's not part of the assignment, only the face and some of the shoulders.